How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's doing well. This is a little different video. I had a customer send me this holster that he really loves. This is one that's available through Bond Arms. And I believe it comes with the Ranger, if you buy the Ranger. Got the fender written on there, stamped in there. Anyway, so his hook and loop fasteners were no longer hook and looping, and this would fall off his belt. So that's no good, obviously. But like I said before, he really loves this holster, and he couldn't find anybody locally that had a machine that could sew a new piece of Velcro on there, because you can't just sew through leather with a regular sewing machine. So anyway, I'm gonna tell you what I did to his holster, and then I'm gonna tell you what you could do at the end if you have the same problem, but you don't want to send it to me to have it fixed. So anyway, let's get started. So like I said, the hook and loop was not hook and looping. This piece right here was so wore out, there was hardly anything left to it. So upon first inspection, this felt fine. So I was glad about that. That'd be a little trickier, but anyway, this piece was about completely off of the holster. All the glue had come loose, and the threads were a little loose as well. So I peeled up the corner, snipped it up, and I ended up taking out this whole row of stitching right here to get this piece off. So I take this off, and then I picked all this out as well. And then the little piece that was held on of the hook and loop fell off. Cleaned up this surface, cut a fresh piece, re-sewed all the way around the perimeter there. Then I noticed that before I moved any further, I tested it out and it wasn't sticking still. The hook and loop was still not hook and looping. And so I said, oh man, what's the matter? And I looked at it and I said, oh, there's a bunch of fuzz stuck in there from what was left of this. So I took my awl and I went in between all these little loops and pulled out, painstakingly, pulled out all the extra fuzz that was left over from this. And now the hook and loop is hook and looping. Which is good, because this piece right here, I'd have to take the whole holster apart to sew that back on, because otherwise it would sew straight through the other side, and that wouldn't be good for anybody. So after that, I put some fresh glue down and I sewed this perimeter stitch here, some fresh thread. He had a lot of frayed pieces that were coming out and coming loose. I don't know if you guys could see that. So I trimmed those if I found them and burned the edges for them so they didn't pull through and unravel more. Another thing I did, this is why I don't like using edge coat, because over time it's like a plastic that hardens and flakes off. So I only use it for one exception. I'll tell you that in a second. But anyway, this had it on there, so I thought I'll run a new fresh coat of the top edge coat on there for him. So I did that. I put a fresh thing of edge coat all the way around, so all the brown's not showing through anymore. And I put a fresh coat here on this edge after I put everything together. So the only exception for when I use edge coat is when I do something like with alligator or two different materials that do not burnish well together. Like, let's say if I do a suede lining on a holster and it's not gonna burnish as nice. So I'll do the best I can and get as nice and smooth as I can, and then I'll put some edge coat on it. So anyway, let's say his holster's all ready to go, and I hope he likes it's functional again. I couldn't do fresh thread around the perimeter because I'd have to take the whole holster apart to redo all that. And at that point, if I'm rebuilding a holster, you might as well buy a new one, kind of thing. Anyway, so what can you do at home if your strap is coming loose because the hook and loop is no longer hook and looping? So what you do is you go on Amazon or go to Hobby Lobby or anywhere else that sells leather supply stuff. If there's a Tandy in your area, you get some bonded nylon thread, or what works good for stitching by hand is Ritza Tiger thread. I used to use that a lot when I would hand stitch. You can get that on Amazon too, small spools, big spools. And get 2 sewing needles at least, and look up on YouTube how to do a saddle stitch. If you can figure out how to do that, you can take care of this no problem whatsoever. So what you do is you just snip here at the edge and slowly start peeling this up. And as you do, keep snipping. You need some, you know, let me see, you need some thread nippers is the best way to do that. And you keep going up until you get it carefully. Don't yank on it, don't pull it, don't force it. This one pretty much fell apart once the thread was off, so there's that. Yours may give a little more resistance, I don't know. But anyway, once you have the strap off, it's easier to maneuver. So you cut yourself a fresh piece of fastener there, and then you just go through the motions of saddle stitching this on. And because the holes are already punched, you don't have to worry about getting pricking irons or keeping anything straight, anything like that. It's already there. The hardest part is getting this off and restitching everything. If you do it real carefully, I mean, you can't even tell that I took it apart, because everything will just go right back together again, especially with the coating on the edge there. So that's what you can do at home to fix yours if it's doing the same thing. If this is bad too and you've tried cleaning it out and it still won't hook up, I would try to, they make adhesive hook and loop. I would try that first and see how that works out for you. It usually sticks pretty good if you clean the surface really well. But other than that, you probably could get in there with, if you're hand stitching, if you got like a curved needle. But it would be a challenge. It would definitely be easier if you opened it up. But then it's going to be a little harder to make sure everything lines up really good, because this is ultimately, when it's glued together, it gets sanded too. So there's that. Food for thought. I would go adhesive first. So anyway, let me know what you think about in the comments below. It's pretty nice holsters. You have one? I'm sure if you're on the Bond Arms fan page or anything, you've seen them before. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and don't forget to subscribe. We're close to 1,000. Thanks for watching.